What is the meaning of springtime? There's a lot of symbolism and deeper meaning to the spring than we may realize. We're going to explore more. Welcome, I'm Kim Marie, and this channel is all about supporting women to step into their most empowered self so they can live their most fulfilling life. Today, we are talking about springtime. We're going to look at the symbolism of spring, the metaphors connected with spring, some of springtime's sacred feminine energy, and also tap in to the seasonal self-care and empowerment that we can connect with in the spring. So this question of what is the meaning of springtime, what we are looking at is seasonal influence or seasonal energies. And we can definitely connect with those through different festivals in the year. But I want to start by saying and mentioning that in traditional indigenous cultures, the springtime typically begins at the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. Now, many people think of spring beginning at the spring equinox, but actually we're already about 6 weeks into that particular season. Most indigenous wisdom would suggest that the season of springtime begins at the beginning of February with the Celtic festival of Imbolc and or Christian festival of Candlemas. I'll talk about those in another video, but the idea is that this is where we begin to feel the seed quickening. And the seed or the egg is definitely a big symbol of springtime. It's like it's quickening, but maybe not quite ready to hatch. The egg is not quite ready to hatch, or the seed is not quite ready to sprout and press through the soil. And so we might feel some of that heaviness, like as if we're under the earth waiting to press through like a seed, okay? But that is one of the big symbols of springtime, is this idea of this seed and this representation of new life and renewal happening. This sense of renewal and new life often inspires transformational growth for us. Many people take up new projects, or we hear about things like spring cleaning or other tasks that get taken up as a way of renewing or refreshing or wiping the slate clean or beginning again to prepare for blossoming to happen. So spring is very much a metaphor for growth. We see growth happening around us, even if it's just beginning with that little quickening and eventually it sprouts and eventually it blossoms. This becomes a metaphor for women to tap into for their own empowerment. What is quickening below the surface for you? And then eventually, as we get a little further into the spring, what's sprouting for you? And then eventually, as spring comes to a close, what is blossoming for you? Okay, what kind of things are starting to flower? We can tap into that sense of growth and follow the season of the spring and some of the different energies through the season of springtime in order to help us find our growth. Now, I also associate springtime with a stage in my SOLACE program called Remembering Who You Are. It's a first stage on a soul's journey. We are always repeating these stages cyclically, kind of like a spiral where we return to them again and again. And we often feel the energy of this, even just with the seasons and the cycle of the seasons. We feel springtime having this energy of remembering who we are, tapping into those roots that are starting to take root in the springtime, right? And then we go into summertime reconnecting, and autumn of re-envisioning, and winter of rebirthing. Now, some people say, why do you talk about winter with rebirthing and when springtime has this symbol of renewal or regeneration? Yes, that's true, but springtime is very much, we see the birthing, but there's not always the acknowledgement that before the actual birth, the sprout or the flower or the blossom can happen, there has to be this whole gestation period. And we begin the springtime with that, the seed beneath the surface of the soil. But the birthing kind of happens when that seed is implanted. And that's what we can think of for the winter time and the depths of winter, is that that is an opening up to receive that seed that gets planted within us, or that gets planted in nature and begins to quicken for the spring. So the springtime is kind of the symbol of beginning to see what wants to manifest for ourselves. So we actually get to remember more of who we are. Now, I have a brand new Sacred Spring journal to work with through the entire season of springtime with lots of wonderful journaling prompts. It's a very simple, beautiful journal to guide you and help you connect more with the energies and symbolisms of springtime and its various celebrations and special days. So I encourage you, check out the link in the description. You're going to love that opportunity, and I will have more special seasonal journals coming out. Now, springtime is very connected to feminine energy. We shift from a feminine energy of the crone or the elder wise woman in the winter. Kind of she transforms into this young maiden in the springtime, often thought of as Brigid in the Celtic festival of Imbolc at the beginning of springtime, as I mentioned, the beginning of February. Now this beautiful feminine energy is bringing that sense of renewal, that sense of new beginnings, fertility and creativity. So tapping into all of that kind of beautiful energy is a wonderful way to continue deepening our connection to the feminine within us. What's going on in your creativity? What are you creating? What seed are you noticing quickening within you? What kinds of feelings are you having? This all helps us tap into the beautiful feminine energy of springtime, of renewal. Now, we also want to take a look at springtime and its meaning for the symbolism and the opportunity for us to connect with renewal within ourselves. We can connect with self-care and a certain energy of maybe purging and clearing things out and making things new. So this is very much about embracing change, maybe setting some new intentions, and also nourishing the soul, really nourishing ourselves for something new to emerge. So I hope all of these different ideas have helped you tap in a little more deeply to the meaning of springtime and how it can reflect on your own journey to empowerment within yourself. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.